I'm waiting for a heart and lung transplant. I can still get around, more or less. The hill is a challenge, but there's an old bench halfway up, and I can always sit on the steps when I need to. I now have a special bleeper thingy too, in case the hospital finds a donor for me. Someone is going to have to die for me to get a chance to live longer. But I try not to think too much about the stranger whose organs will be inside me, pumping my blood and breath around my body, one step at a time. When you think about it, there's no such thing as future. There's only today. Live for today is my motto.
Superficially, it's about 12-year-old Gussie who's moved from a cliff-top cottage in Cornwall into the town of St Ives. She's waiting for a heart and lung transplant, so she's not at school. She's just with her mum. She knows she hasn't got long to live, probably, and even if she has the transplant, she probably won't get to adulthood. So she's looking for a family for her mum, really. I suppose profoundly it's not about that at all. It's about this child searching for a philosophy for her own short life. She loves sitting on the beach, on Porthmead Beach, watching the sun go down. She's a great observer of details, you know, the god of small things. Nathan was my firstborn. I was 19 when he was born. He was born with heart failure. He was a blue baby. I started writing about how miserable I was and, you know, how lonely I was out there and how isolated, etc., etc. And I suddenly discovered I was writing about how wonderful it was and seeing it through the eyes, maybe, of my son, who died 22 years ago. He was a scientist. He was a student, but he was a scientist. And he lived every moment as if it was his last, because he knew he didn't have long to live, and he was determined to make the most of every moment. And I started writing like that, and seeing things as if I was a child, knowing I would possibly be seeing these things for the last time. And it became a sort of hymn of praise to this place. This character has enabled me to say all sorts of things about his life and his way of thinking. That I think that's probably what touches people about the story, maybe. That there is this child overcoming terrible odds. She grabs life with both hands and enjoys every moment. I don't know where Gussie came from. I didn't have a plot at all. I just went with the flow. But really it's an insight into the inner workings of a 12-year-old girl's mind, I think. Yeah, the first book, The Burying Beetle, was written as a one-off, and when I'd written it, it was exhausting to write and emotionally exhausting. But it was a one-off, and I thought, that's it, that's the end. And then it came to me that, well, maybe I could continue the story. And in fact, at the end of this one, I did the same thing. Yes, the story can continue, and in fact, it does.